All right, today we got a little video. Our old install Dalton video is really old, need to be updated, and I want to share some, hopefully easy information before we get started. Don't forget Hunterworks belts, best on the planet. Check them out. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. All right, so this is I'll call it a generic Dalton clutch kit install for Polaris's. And if you look down on the table here, we got 4 different secondary clutches. This is an OE from a non-turbo. This is like a pro clutch. This is an older turbo, and this is a Hunterworks Primary. And if you look at them, I mean, while they look different, the processes for doing clutch kits are exactly the same thing. You're going to do the same thing. And that's why we can use one video on the primary side to do these Dalton clutch kits. Now, the weights themselves for some of the models are slightly different in the way that it may or may not have a tip rivet. It may have a screw in, or it may use no tip rivet, a screw in a tip. Those things are a little bit different from one kit to the other. Paper instructions cover that well, but the process of doing it is pretty much the same. So first, I'm going to remove all these from the table. Only have our Hunterworks primary clutch here, and we'll go through the steps. And again, you can do exactly the same thing on all 3 of these. All right, so got all them off the bench, and we're going to, like I said, do it on the Hunterworks Primary. This particular one already has a Dalton clutch kit in it, so we're going to simulate taking out what was in it, and then we'll put in it. So we're just going to go basically through the steps. And again, it doesn't matter, turbo, Ranger, you name it. Processes are all the same, except some of your newer 2-piece clutches like the Pros. The outside half comes off, but you can also just set that outside half on this Hunterworks spring compressor and essentially, once again, do the exact same thing, same process, okay? So we're gonna slide her down. You could do this without a compressor, but you probably have one for your secondary anyway, so just use it. You're not torquing anything at this point, you're just putting pressure on it so the spring doesn't come back, and you take your clutch cover screws out. All right, undo the handle. Hold a little pressure on it because sometimes these springs are longer than the tool allows for. Luckily for us, this one is not. All right. Set your cover aside, and before we do that, these covers has an X on them. Some people like to go ahead and put a black mark on the cover on the clutch on all parts just for alignment purposes. Either way, but they do have X's. The Hunterworks' cover, X is on the inside, X on the spider. Line it up. Factory ones usually on the outside and on the spider, okay? Setting the cover off, spring off. All right, I'm gonna do this backwards. This one, like I said, already has a Dalton clutch kit in it. I'm doing it opposite. For me, I'd be doing it on my side so I can see. All right, it's 3/8 socket and a 1/8 inch Allen head. All right, this one has these little washers in this kit, so your factory weights would not. All right, so at this point, all your factory stuff is out. Like I said, just repeat on the other 2 sides, and we're ready to go back in. Now, with the Dalton, these are a set of adjustable weights, and this particular kit is a XP1000 2-seater non-turbo. It does have a tip rivet that has to be installed, and then has a passage up the center to add set screws with. There's a tool in the kit to screw them in. The instructions on all these kits, no matter what, it's going to tell you what to put in the tip and how many to put in up the center. The newer turbos actually have a screw in. The older turbos have no tip rivet and only screws up the center. So only the non-turbos have a tip rivet that needs to be installed. And I use a 50-ton press. You can use a vise. You could even use a hammer and a punch. You're basically just putting it in there and deforming it enough that it doesn't come out on this style. We also offer a tip rivet install service. You'll see it on the top of the page there on like a main, say RZR 1000 page, for example. It'll say tip rivet installed, 20 bucks. We'll put them in for you. All right, so now that you've set your fly weights up, all 3 of them, and it's time to go back, All right, like I said, this non-turbo one has these little washers, and I take my pivot pin and I get just a little bit sticking through. Maybe I can get Hunter to zoom in right here on editing. Sticking through a little bit. Of course, this is odd backwards, so it hangs. Slide our flyweight in. Get the pivot pin. Whoop. This is odd for me doing it backwards. All right, now at this point, and this is going to be real hard for me to do backwards. I'm just not going to be able to do it. Maybe we can kind of do it this way. I take this washer and I slide it in until I can get the end of that pivot pin to touch it and hold it. See, holding it in place. And I got a knife on me and I slide it in, and you watch this. Yeah, there it went. See, went on through. Then we'll put our nut back on. These are a locking nut, and these are shoulder bolts. So it goes until it stops and you let go. I'm a big impact guy. You can certainly use hand tools. All right, now basically just repeat that on all three flyweights, get them in. We're getting ready to put our spring back in. If you have an OEM clutch, still not a Hunterworks Primary for our non-turbo vehicles, highly suggest you get our standard white washer and you install it at this point right on this center post. Hunterworks Primary, we got it perfect from the get-go. It doesn't need anything additional. If you bought a kit for a Pro Turbo 21 or newer, any of those models, we do have a precision ground washer that goes in under the post. Make sure you check that video out. This will be the time to do it. Also, if you were doing the 16 through 20 turbos, we have over travel washer for it. Once again, this is the time to do it. We got videos on that, so just find those little items on our website, click the install videos on that. But this would be the time to do that, okay? All right, so we'll have a link below to the website, and then once you get on the website, just navigate over to your vehicles and you can easily find all those different styles of washers. Don't get confused on washers because it can, but just go your specific vehicle, find it, and watch video. All right, spring, cover. Where's our X? There's our X, here's our X. All right, start screwing it down. On all these vehicles, as the post of the clutch comes through the bushing, you want to line it. You don't want to damage anything. Get it lined up. There it goes. And then you want to get it just flush, okay, for now. Then you pick up your movable sheave to it and start your screws by hand. You can use blue Loctite if you like. I've never used it and I never had any problem. But if it makes you feel better, you can certainly use blue Loctite. I'll also say that there is a torque spec on these. I personally do not use a torque wrench on these because so many times, I couldn't tell you how many times, people misused a torque wrench and broke these screws off and you almost just ruined your clutch. So let your conscience be your guide on that. I use 1/4 inch Milwaukee impact, and we'll put a link below. It goes to Amazon actually to get this very one if you want it. And I pick it up from the bottom. See that? Now then, that tells me I ain't quite down enough. All right. Opposite sides. The screws on a Hunterworks cover are a locking style. So that's why I don't use any blue Loctite. Our clutch is now complete. Like I said, the process is going to be the same for all of them. If you got any questions, feel free to email me, todd@hunterworks.com. videos, long time coming. I mean, the one you've been watching is from an XP 900, probably 10 years ago. Just needed to update it and make it more applicable for all the models. So appreciate you guys.